Let's see. And then I'll share that one.
Yeah, share it on out there.
All right.
The more people we can get, the better off we are.
Now I'm going to post here real quick on the
Go ahead.
Instagram.
So you'll hear me go live on the air here in a second. I'll introduce the radio station. So we're going live right now.
All right.
You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in sunny Northport, Florida. I've got some very, very cool and very, very special guests in the house today. I have got RJ Malloy, the station manager, and I've got Mr. Aaron Pax Taylor, who's in the house. And I also have coming on Mr. Mike Rawlings, my son, who will be joining us soon. And I've got a whole lot going on today. This is our first airing of our show. It is Songwriters Soles. And truthfully, Aaron's been part of this imagination process along with many others over the years because of the Key West connection. So, this has always been something I've wanted to do, and I've been very blessed to have the gracious permission of RJ at the station. RJ, I just want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to prove that we can put connections together.
Well, do it. Don't screw it up.
I hope not. I hope not. Man, that's a scary thing. There's a little choice here.
I'll do my best too. I'll make you proud.
Aaron.
Yeah.
So you were telling us a little bit about your journey, and that's kind of what this show represents, is the journey and actually the music that comes along with it. So can you kind of highlight a couple things about yourself and talk about your journey?
Yeah, my journey is pretty lengthy. So I'm originally from Los Angeles. Over the years, I worked all the bars and clubs until I got to a point to where I was good enough that I needed to give it the old Nashville try. So in the early 2000s, I literally left my job in television to go to Nashville. And I thought, man, I'm going to go out there and be a huge star. I'm going to get out there. They're going to see me right away. I'm going to sign a record deal. I'm going to get out there and sing to millions of people. And like most people that get out there, you realize that there's a lot of talent in Nashville. So everybody that has the same dreams as I do all went out there, and I realized I was good, but I wasn't as good as I thought I was. So I had some honing to do of my songwriting skills, vocal lessons, like all the things you really need to do to get your craft better. And you also need to get to a point where you're 100% invested in what it is you're wanting to do. So for me, it was, music, I'm pretty good, but you hesitate a little bit to jump in with 2 feet because you don't know what you're up against as far as the industry. Singing and writing songs is easy for me. It's the music side, the business side that's always the challenge, because that's the one thing you can't control, right? I can control the songs that I sing, the songs that I write, how well I play, how well I sing, the shows that I'm able to book. But everything else that goes on in the background, you just don't know what you don't know. So you're surrounded with people that promise you things. So I get to Nashville and, hey, you give me $10,000, I'll make you a star kind of stuff. And luckily, I never got pulled into that. But I know a lot of people that do. Still to this day get pulled into that. And I just got to a point where over the last 10, 15 years, I became a really good songwriter because I started out being a really bad songwriter. And then I got better by writing with better people. Then I would get into better rooms and just listen. For me, I learned that it was better to listen than to do a lot of talking. So I started writing better and better songs until I was writing songs that other artists wanted to cut. And then I still love to sing. I always will. And I wanted to write songs that I know about. You have the details about stories of your life. Look, we've all been through heartbreak. We've all been through big times, little times, hard times. I've broken bones, like all the things that life has to offer. We've all been there. And people like me, I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm just trying to find different creative ways to say the same things that writers and artists have been singing about for decades. So when I sit down, I don't try and sing about things that I don't know about because it wouldn't be authentic. So I'm at a point now where I don't worry about whether or not people will like my songs. I just write them. If they like them, great. If not, great. And I feel like I write better songs that way. And I feel like I put myself in a position where it makes me believable because I'm just being honest. I don't try and sing like Chris Stapleton. I don't try and, write songs that I don't know anything about. I'm a kid from Los Angeles who has lived in Nashville for 15, 20 years. So I know a little bit about life. I've been through heartbreak. I've got kids. So I kind of cover the whole gamut of life. I haven't had a drink in, 8 months. And that was just something. One day I woke up, I was like, you know what? I'm good. It was nothing that caused me to do it. But I've also been a musician most of my life. So I know what it's like to be a guy that can put down a bottle or two. So I've been there and I can write about these things. And I think that's what makes art genuine, which is why somebody like Jelly Roll is having a tremendous amount of success right now, because he's just a pure, raw, everyday guy he is what you see. And that's kind of what I've developed into, is just being comfortable in my own skin. I don't try and make songs because people will like them. Either they'll like them or they won't. And all I can do is worry about how can I create an art that makes me happy, that people can relate to. And not everybody's going to like my stuff, but luckily, knock on wood, most people that I play songs for love my stuff. And I have a tremendous following that I build every time I go out and play. Like Key West, man, love Key West. That's one of my favorite places to go, because songwriters out there, you'll get all the hit songwriters, Trent Tomlinson,
Yep.
Right now, Taylor Phillips, all those guys are like the hit makers, but they're just walking around or they're riding scooters, like everybody else. And there's no pecking order out there. Everybody's just a friend, and it's an island. I mean, what's not to be upset about singing songs in island bars? So, yeah.
So the fascinating thing that I run into with you guys over the years now is that the connections and the friendships that we've made, not even based on doing a show like this, but even just talking about things that possibly could be down the road, but the friendships are concrete. It was unbelievable today, because Rose in Nashville is a special person and very special to us. And I know for a fact how special she is to everybody in Nashville and songwriters. Last year when she showed up, the place went nuts. When she walked in, she was having trouble, but holy cow, the appreciation for her is crazy. But I sent her a text message, you're on the show today, because she hooked us up, even though you were in my phone. She said, well, get a hold of Aaron, and here you are.
So Rose she's family to everybody, is what she is. She's done so much. Look, she didn't need to have all those bars and places for us to play. She literally kept all those open for people like me that can go have a place to go play songs. That's it. She probably wouldn't tell you that, but she could get through life just fine without having the hassle of those few bars that she had out in Nashville. So I moved to Nashville on a Wednesday. She was the first place on Friday that let me get up and play songs. So it was over there. I had moved back to LA, and then after COVID, we moved back to Nashville. And I remember playing behind, it looked like a clear shower curtain, because COVID was still a thing in late 2020. And I played on a Friday night, a day and a half after I got to Nashville, on that stage. And from that day forward, she's been a wealth of knowledge. I ask her a lot of advice. She loves my wife and kids, and she's just always been there for me and literally thousands of other artists in Nashville. And she's like the nicest person, and she's somebody you want to go have a drink with, go have dinner with, go have a meeting with. And you can never say enough good things about people like that, because she genuinely wants to help people. And that's hard to find in somebody that's also a tremendous person.
Sure enough. You've come a long way in just several years, really.
Yeah.
And my wife and I truly have enjoyed not just watching you this year, but the journey that you guys have been on. It's kind of a cool thing when you can see advancements, because we haven't seen you for a year, and just to see the advancement in what you put forth in 1 year is crazy. But I kind of want to bring Michael in real quick, because you hit Aaron on a couple of things. You've never met Michael. Michael meet Aaron. Aaron meet Michael.
Hey,
Hi,
Michael.
Aaron. Nice to meet you.
This
You
is
too,
what
buddy.
this show is truly all about: is the connections between songwriters and their journeys. And you Aaron, you talked about the drinking, and I kind of want to start there with Michael, because his journey is similar to yours right now, and you can kind of hit on what you've done in the last few months, Michael, and why music has kind of been your anchor.
Yeah, I've been sober for about 6 months, almost 6 months,
Good
and
for you, dude.
yeah, it wasn't necessarily something that was taking a hold just yet, but with music and stuff, and sometimes it's a struggle just making art. The starving artist is a real thing, and just kind of put all the emotions that we trap with our drinking into songs and try to express myself. And I think that's kind of what the rest of us do. A bunch of my friends up here in Ohio do the same thing. We've all been kind of on the same journey. So it's
Man,
been
good for
interesting.
you. It's tough. It's not always easy. Look, I was just in Key West, where literally everybody around me had a drink the entire time. But you know who loved me the most in Key West was whoever was standing next to me, because somebody would hand me a shot and I would just hand it to whoever was next to me. So I made a lot of friends just by handing drinks away.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything for me that was like, hey, I'm getting too many drinks. And it was literally just one day I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good without it. And like after a couple of days, I just didn't even think about it. And I feel better, of course, but I'm also saving a lot of money. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's that, but it's also, I've got young kids. So, I also don't want to be one of those guys that just gets caught up in, life has stresses like everything else. I don't want to one day just turn into medication. And so it's important for me as a father. I want to be a better father than my father was to me. I want to be, a good husband. I want to be all these things. And so I just want to put myself in positions and make decisions based on how I want to be, as all these things, whether it's a songwriter, whether it's an artist, whether it's a friend, a husband, a father. Like I owe it to all these people to be the best version of myself. And making decisions like that, although seem tough, looking back now, it's really not that tough. Like I don't think about it. I went through a whole week in Key West where there was nothing but drinks given to me the whole time. Wasn't tempted with even one, and I just made a decision that, you know what, I'm good. I'm good without it, and I probably could have a drink and be, no problem. I mean, I've drank my whole life. Look, I was a pro. Okay, I was a musician, and I was at a certain point. There were a lot of shows. I don't even remember playing a fourth set. You know what I mean? Like we would play these bars and clubs. Like we went to Pahrump, Nevada. We were playing Vince Neil's Tattooado place, and I'll be honest, I don't remember even playing a fourth set. They're like, "Man, you were great," and I said, "Man, perfect."
Sweet.
So after that, my drummer Chris Austin, I've not only known him since the early '90s, but he's also like Simon Cowell to me. He'll say, "Man, you were terrible on that song. Why would you even sing that song? You missed a lyric here. You were pitchy, all these things." But I love him because I don't get surrounded by a lot of honest people.
Yeah.
And after that show, he said, "Hey, man, I think we need to come up with something different so we're not getting sloshed every single night." Because it quickly get out of hand. And this was years ago. And from that night on, I said, you know what? We're just going to go to the bartenders and tell them, hey, people are going to buy us shots all night. Why don't you just fill them with water? And you can keep their money. And if you want to split tips with us, that's great. And they would just bring us, water shots. And it made a big difference. So it was little decisions like that made a huge difference to me.
So quick question for you both. And I'll start out with Michael here real quick. Do you think your music has gotten better with the bottle down? And I'll repeat that question for you, Aaron, in a second. But Michael, your thought?
Yeah, I think I wrestled at Northport, where the show's being broadcast, and one of the most successful times of my life was when I didn't drink. I didn't drink all through high school. I never really knew what drinking was back then, and whenever I set my mind to something, I was able to do it. And ever since then, I mean, that was more. I think what we're both kind of getting in touch with is like the focus of, being able to be driven again and not putting on blinders to what's going on around us, and you know just setting a goal and being able to achieve it. And I think that's a huge thing for anybody looking to accomplish not just music or art or being a charter boat fisherman, but anything you're going to do in life. If you can really dedicate your heart to it, uh, you're going to achieve the most out of it.
Aaron, you got anything to add there?
Yeah, you said it great. So, yes, but it also depends on the kind of songs you're writing. If you're down at the beach with your buddies and you're all hanging out and having a good time, you're going to write a certain kind of song. But I'm a lyric guy. I'm the guy that people call in Nashville when they want to write a song that they can't write themselves. They call my catalog the Vault of Sadness because I'm really good at writing songs. And I'm genuinely a really happy guy, but I just have a knack for being able to write really good sad songs, and I'm able to be clear when I sit down to write songs. And a lot of writers' rooms in Nashville, there's a bottle of whiskey, bourbon, there's whatever you want in a lot of these writers' rooms, and if that's what helps you kind of get maybe a little bit nervous if you're writing with somebody who's a really big songwriter, you don't want to come off like you're nervous or what, maybe you take a drink or something. But for me, I write completely clear now, which is always fun. I mean, I'm not saying that we go into every writing session drinking, but it certainly helps to be clear of mind all the time, not just part of the day. Because I have on my phone, I'll come up with an idea, and I literally on my phone have thousands of notes of hooks or little recordings or something. And I've always been a really big believer in there's a lot of talent in Nashville and every city in America practically of people who are way better singers than me, better writers, better musicians, all these things. But nobody's competition to me because if I'm not doing what I need to be doing, it doesn't matter what they're doing. Like they could be better or worse, and it doesn't make any difference because if I'm not doing what I should be doing, it doesn't matter how good I am or how good they are. And there's the 7 or 8 or 9 things that require no talent, which are be on time, be professional, continue to learn, surround yourself with good people, genuinely root for your friends' success, not just to find some, but I literally want every one of my friends to be more successful than I am, because if your friends are successful, then you're successful, especially if I'm writing songs with them. And, surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded is really important. And I was talking to like Ray Fulcher, who is he's kind of a big deal in writing. If you know anything he's written, I would say most of the co-writes with Luke Combs since they've been in town. And just talking to guys like that, or Ernest, who I've known for years, they just found their group of guys that just have a formula that works. They're really close together. They love what they write. They're really good. They're very honest with each other. And they write stuff that they know how to write. They don't try and think too far outside of what it is they're really good at, which makes them really good. And me being clear allows me to focus on all these things that are really important, which are I can control the things that I can control, but I also can put myself in a position that when I get opportunities, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go with, hey, I'm healthy, I'm making good decisions, I've got good people around me. And it's not just about the music. They're writing tens of thousands of songs every day in Nashville. You hear the new Morgan Wallen album? There's 500 of those songs being written every day right now because they're hearing that. They're like, I can write that.
Yep.
Sure. You can write anything after the fact. But the reason that those songs are so good is because 3 or 4 years ago when they were writing those songs, nobody was writing that. And I think it when you're clear of mind, you can pre-think a lot of these things that maybe you don't think about on a regular basis. You know, songwriting, it's a career for me. I gave up a really good life in California to come out to Nashville and write songs. And this is my job. After 20 years, I'll have put as much work and time and effort to songwriting as a doctor has to become a doctor. You know, by the time a doctor's ready to, you know, perform surgery, he's, you know, 20 years of schooling and all of his internships. Same thing with me. I mean, I didn't start out being a good writer. I was terrible. I didn't know how to write songs, but I've become really good over the years because I went through all those things. And
you know, the funny thing, Aaron, you know, we matched this up based on a cancellation and a contact.
yeah,
So you guys have a lot in common. You both are really out there working. You're both very focused. I guess it's time to give everybody what they want. I want you to pull out your best song, and I want you to go ahead and play your best song for us, Aaron.
oh my good, my best song. But
Your best song. I listen. If we're going to do this, we might as well start with the best and work our way up, because whatever you play after that is always going to. A really good friend of mine, Taylor Phillips, he said it's always my favorite song is the next song.
That's it. But I have songs that are my favorite. I have songs that are my favorite songs that I would never sing to anybody, right? Because they're personal or they're whatever. You know, when I write songs, I don't write a song because I think it's going to be a hit. If it turns out that it's a really good song after I've written it, great. I don't want to let too many things out of the bag, but Cafe Anderson, he's releasing one in a couple weeks that we wrote called There's Me. And that's one that I would never sing out because it's kind of a party song and it's really kind of upbeat and you need the whole track and a whole band situation. So I'm very proud of that song and the guys I wrote it with. And I'd asked my wife and kids and they said, well, why don't you sing this one? So this one's called Pour It Myself. Kinda like I'm the only one sitting all alone in this bar. 10 a.m.'s the perfect time to pour me a new start. Got a couple things on my mind that I need to drink about. You'll probably find me here a while trying to figure it all out. And I don't know how long I'm gonna be. But Joe, you can't seem to keep up coming fast enough. Man, why do you keep putting that bottle right back up? I'll give you all the money in my pocket if you'll just bring it down and drop it. Man, that would really help. So whenever I think about her, I'll just pour it myself. You got any more in the back you want to bring it out front? 2 bottles that you got up there ain't gonna be enough. Tonight she messed me up pretty good, taking it harder than I probably should, drinking myself off the top shelf like I knew I would. Emma said that, man, I never would. But you can't seem to keep up coming fast enough. Man, why do you keep putting that bottle right back up? I'll give you all the money in my pocket if you'll just bring it down and drop it. Man, that would really help. So whenever I think about her, I'll just pour it myself. Joe, you can't seem to keep on coming fast enough. Man, why do you keep putting that bottle right back up? I'll give you all the money in my pocket if you'll just bring it down and drop it. Man, hell. So whenever I think about her, I'll just pour it myself. I'll just pour it myself.
I've only heard that a couple times.
Yeah.
No, every time you do it, it gets better. And, you know, you got to be proud of what you're doing. You've got good creative, great creativity. And actually, you know what? Real quick, tell people how brave you have to be to one, write a song and then perform it at a songwriters event.
Well, you get to a point where you're scared to death, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll be, but the first time, you know, before I learned how to play guitar, the very first song I learned to play was this one here. It started way back in third because it was the only 3 chords I could play. It was this one. That was it. But trying to sing and play at the same time, almost impossible. And I didn't grow up a musician. I couldn't play guitar till I was in my early 20s. And I'm a really good fake. I can play, but when I get around somebody that's a really good guitar player, I leave it alone because every flaw comes out. I'm good enough to play for a couple hours, but it's not my job to be a great guitar player. It's my job to write songs. So I see all the guitars behind you hanging on the wall, and man, getting in a room with somebody like him, I wouldn't try and fancy anything up. So I give advice to a lot of young writers and artists that if you're not comfortable, don't worry about how well you play or how much you play. Strum a chord. When I think about her, I'll just pour it myself. You don't have to do any fancy picking, any of that stuff. So that's when it became easier, when I was like, you know what, I don't need to be fancy guy. I just need something that makes me not sound like I'm standing by myself, in an empty corner somewhere. You have to be brave because you have to have thick skin. And my skin didn't get thicker until I got older, until I stopped worrying about what everybody thought. And look, there's people that are not going to like me. To be honest with you, I don't really mind one bit, because you're not gonna make everybody happy with every song you do. Nobody's gonna want to hear my song on all my demos. They're not gonna want to hear my voice on all the demos. Especially when we're doing demos, my voice is very specific. I've got a baritone voice that maybe we wouldn't send to Keith Urban. So I do understand that there are people that are going to like you and people that aren't going to like you. And you just have to be okay with not letting that affect you. It's like reading comments. Don't read them. If you're going to get affected, just leave them alone. If you don't know they're there, you won't read them. So,
the truth of the matter is you just gave a life lesson. So, there is something to be said about music being something that can provide a life lesson. Because there are a lot of people out there that struggle with that same question and questioning themselves every day. And they're not a songwriter, they're not a musician, but it's in all walks of life, and you have to find a way to get through it.
I get a lot of phone calls from friends, or when I see a post from a friend, I won't say any names, but somebody who's a pretty big name that if I named it, somebody would probably know. He called. I saw a post one day. It just seemed off. And I called him up. I said, hey, man, just want to call and say hi. You doing all right? He said, yeah, man. He's like, it's just been a real tough month. He said, man, things aren't happening. And, we have this trajectory where, man, I thought we were going to be huge now on tour, all these things. I said, man, it's not, it has nothing ever to do with you personally, man. It's a lot of moving parts in there that there are decisions to be made. But the one thing you can control is how you handle this situation, because it's what you do when nobody's looking that builds your character. So if you're pouting about it and you're angry, or you're bad talking somebody in the industry or a label or a PR person, man, people are going to find that out. Just keep yourself in a good position at all times. So when I was saying earlier that when your opportunity comes, you're ready. You're not having to dig yourself out of a hole because you're so pissed at your label that you're not getting on the radio right now. Look, man, you got to pay your dues like everybody else. There's a TikTok kid who I see every year at CRS. And again, one of those kids that you would know if I hollered his name out. Is a new kid that just came out. And he said, man, I can't find a spot on radio. I said, what are they going to, they're going to bump one of Morgan's songs or one of Luke's songs to get you on the 35 or 40 spots that they have on a playlist? Probably not, man. You got to let these things cool down until it's your turn. It's always been like that. And it's so hard, but you got to play the relationship game. What I did with Chris Austin about 6 years ago, before my son and daughter were born, he and I went on a duo radio tour across the country. We rented a minivan. And most of the stations had no idea we were coming. We just did a little Google search, you know, KABC or KWWW in this city. Who's the program director? Oh, Bob Johnson. Great. We're going to stop and get a pizza, and we'll get some donuts on the way. I had pictures and photos, and we would knock on the door. Hey, we're here to see Bob Johnson, Aaron Pax, Taylor, Chris Austin. We brought pizza and food and donuts. Come on in. Anytime you go to a station with food, they'll let you in. I promise.
We know that. RJ,
Yes, we
RJ
do.
knows that.
Yes, we do.
Which is why we got into every single station. And I would say 90% of the time we got to visit with the program director, which was our goal. And I know they weren't playing my music at the time. My song out at that time was My Weekend. Really catchy, really good song, but they're not going to bump anybody to play my weekend song. And I think I got a Music Row Breakout Chart Top 70. Hey, that was cool. Nothing wrong with that at all. There are thousands of songs every day and every week being released. So to get up there, I'm proud of that. But what it did, going to all those stations, is every time I would see those program directors and on-air talent and all those people that were there at CRS in Nashville, what they said was, hey, man, it was great to see you in Iowa. Thanks again for the pizza. Thanks again for the kolaches. Thank you for the donuts. We appreciate it. And every year I would see them, just like I do with you at Key West. Yep. It's a relationship thing. And long after I'm singing songs on radio, I'm still going to be having relationships with you and all the radio people, like Whitney Allen. I've known Whitney for tons of years. I call her on the phone right now and she'd pick up. But somebody like that, I know that she's, you know, her big show is not playing my song, but we're friends. And that's more important to me than her playing my song right now, because if I'm writing songs for all these big artists, which we're about to have some really big hits, man, that's great, because I know they're playing songs of mine in some capacity.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Michael, what are you going to grace our ears with? What's your favorite song that you've written so far? And I can tell Aaron's all ready to.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Wanted to grab one of them guitars on the wall behind you and start playing.
Well, I got my trusty acoustic that I carry around everywhere.
Look at that.
You guys mind if I play some harmonica?
No, it's your song. Play it away.
Yeah, I got a song that I wrote. I was driving a moving truck through Kentucky a couple years ago, and I had my Samurai. I was moving up to Ohio from Florida, and I hit a buck in Williamstown and almost steered off the side of a mountain. And I know it's a little, you know, it's reaching into the vault of sadness and stuff, but you know, I'm still here, so it's like going through adversity and stuff. And
that's where the dent in the bumper came from.
It did.
Yeah.
It was a big dent. It was a big buck too. So
I was driving with my wife years ago on 109 out in Nashville, and a car about 100 feet up to the right of us crushed a deer right in front of us, and you know they spin.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I'd ever seen a deer get hit. I was like, oh my God, that lady's probably dead. She pulled over, and we went over and checked on her, and she was on the phone. She's like, hey, Earl, I hit another deer. Totaled the car again. I was like, this must happen everywhere. So apparently it does.
They had a sign that said deer crossing on the highway. So, I mean, I guess Kentucky is a big moving spot. But, I mean, I live in Muskingum County in Ohio, and we're like the third most populated deer county in the state. So, you know, there's a lot of deer around. So it's still relevant in my life.
Hunting too.
Awesome.
So this is Williamstown.
Yeah.
all through old Kentucky. In the early hours of dawn, has me dreaming of sleeping in all day in my baby's arms. But the hands of time control the things that appear from the unknown. Like a moving truck that's running fast, hitting a buck that's fully grown. My baby's in Columbus, I'm in Williamstown. Stuck inside this moving truck with no one else around. At 1 in the morning, flying fast down that hill, that budget truck and buck met with such a thrill. The truck started rumbling as I watched the hood implode. The front tires lifted up and I was all over the road. As the tires came back down, I could finally see the front of the truck headed for the ravine. I pulled myself together and I tried to find any opportunity to come out of this alive. My baby's in Columbus, I'm in Williamstown. Stuck inside this moving truck with no one else around. The cigarette hanging from my lips puts off an eerie glow as I rip the wheel to the left before I tumble down below. The parts of my body that weren't aching from the crash breathed a heavy sigh of relief as the danger moved on past. But I didn't understand the damage that had been done. I pulled off the next exit as the engine ceased to run. I coasted around the corner, all I had were lights. I pulled right into the Shell station and waited for the night. My baby's in Columbus, I'm in Williamstown. Stuck inside this moving truck with no one else around. All I really have that isn't packed away are 2 cigarettes and a dead cell phone, a harmonica and guitar to play.
Yeah, dude.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Man,
Very
man, I
good.
love a good story song.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. Before you hopped on, like I was talking to them about. I grew up in Los Angeles listening to Vin Scully call Dodger games and Chick Hearn call Laker games at night in my bed with the transistor AM radio. And I don't think you can find one clip of Vin Scully ever saying the word or a wasted word. And when you sing something, like every word that you said in that song, there was not a wasted word in that entire song that you just sang. So good on you, dude. That was really good. Very good.
I appreciate that.
And then Chick Hearn, I was telling him that after the Laker games, he would do a call-in show, and he was the voice of the Lakers for years. During showtime, the Laker time, and there was a blind guy that would call his call-in show every single night and say, "Hey, I just want to thank you that you painted a picture for a blind guy to see this game without being able to see it, like the way he described it with his words. So I'm really big on imagery, like the lip, like your cigarette hanging from your lip and you have 2 cigarettes left. Like as a songwriter, I hear maybe a lot of things that maybe other people don't hear that kind of paint pictures for me as a writer. So anytime
When you said you were all about the lyrics, so I figured I'd pull one out which had the most storytelling side to it, where it's not just trying to get a hook or, you know.
For sure. And I love writing songs like that. I wrote one a couple of nights ago with Omer Netzer. We both have daughters, and we wrote a song that he's got a 2-month-old daughter, brand new, and about to, can I finish this dance? And it's basically, we almost both cried writing this song, because there's nothing like, if anybody that's ever had a child, the first time that child looks at you when it opens its eyes, like it's a different kind of love. Like it's, that child looks at you in a way that, like, how can you put into words how it makes you feel that that child thinks that you're going to be the one that's going to take care of me and keep me safe forever. And that's all that is being spoken the very first time when that kid opens its eyes, when it's crying or it looks at you for the very first time. It doesn't know anything, but it does know, like, all those things that it just communicated with you with just those eyes. And so that's what I think about, like all those different details that maybe other people wouldn't think about. So when your song talking about like going in the ravine or pulling over, how your truck sees, like all those things, I capture every one of those details.
I'm going to slide up to RJ for a second, because we really don't have, we have open mic night on Wednesdays at the radio station. And I don't know that we have another show similar to this where we've gotten people of the same and music, whether it's real estate, whether it's a legal side of things. I don't know that we have anything like that on the air right now, other than this, which is kind of makes this unique all into itself because of the growth potential out into the radio world and social media world. Where do you feel like this could potentially go with the connections that we have as an internet-based radio station?
Well, I think that it's inspirational. I mean, I listened to both of you guys, and I remember what my career was like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when I was playing the folk circuit with Pete Seeger and John Prine and Nancy Griffith. It was different, and that disappeared, and something new happened, and it became, the bean counters and the lawyers got involved in all of it, and it changed. And what you guys are doing is you're giving back that inspiration that you can be you can create, and you can be successful, even if it's just for yourself. And I think that's a great thing to do. And the other thing that you've done that I think is really important is you've made this conversation non-competitive.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the past when people are competing with each other, they're tearing each other down and everybody loses. And what you guys did tonight is you built each other up, and that's the way it should be. And I know you're doing that in your career in Nashville and Ohio, and when you guys go down to Key West, that's what's going on. And that is essential. And that's why I agreed to put this program on the air, because I knew that this was what was going to come out of it. Somewhere along the line, you're going to impact one person. I have no idea who that is, but you're going to impact one person, and they're going to say, I can do this. And
Listen,
they're going to do it. And they're going to do it. And they're going to become a big deal. And they're going to bring other people along. So you only have to do one person. And so you're on the way to accomplishing that.
They already did that in Key West. Aaron's been a huge part of it. I will tell you, the non-competitiveness, if you really, really want to see something fantastic, go to a Songwriters Festival. Anywhere that you see a Songwriters Festival, go. But the Key West Songwriters Festival, it's already on my schedule for next year, at a completely different level now, because I have this show. And I got to talk about this show briefly while I was there. And the amount of excitement is insane. The people that are coming forward right now because of today. Kyle got held up at work, and he's a very, very dear friend. Love him to death. Am going to Jacksonville to go see him. But I got to tell you, because Kyle canceled today, he made me make the show better. And I had to make the show better by bringing on Aaron and by bringing on RJ. And Aaron was just another special piece, along with my son being a really special, cool part for me to have part of the first airing of the show, which is kind of cool. So you talk about changing lives. We just did, all four of us. We just touched all four people, because I'm going to tell you, the answer you gave, the answer Aaron gave, the comments that Michael gave, they all put chills on me. All of them did, because I was so excited about this show. I could hardly stand to wait much longer to get it going. And so I'm overly appreciative of the time everybody has spent on here today. And I'm going to tell you, Aaron, on the air, and Michael on the air, this is the first show. You guys are going to be rescheduled in the next few weeks out, so that we gain some popularity on air. And also the people that helped start this show, months 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, you get rescheduled again, because guess what? We're going to capture that year's worth of work that we're going to put in, gaining on social media and through the radio station, through the internet broadcast. And we're going to be able to, because of the radio broadcast and social media, reach out to our friends overseas and bring songwriting from overseas into our neck of the woods. And it's going to be a cool concept. I really am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Bridget Tatum coming on. I'm looking forward to Taylor Phillips coming on. I'm looking forward to CK coming on. I'm looking forward to Dave Kennedy and Southern Rounds. He is massively big in Key West too, but in Nashville. And if you have a chance, catch Bridget Tatum, find out where she's at, follow her, follow us. Please follow us. The more follows, the more likes we get, the better off we are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're live out there right now. We're being shared. Please, the more that we can get, the more that we can help the local songwriters here in Northport and the rest of the songwriters family all over the world, including my extended family, my songwriters friends in Nashville. And so I'm gonna, we've got 5 minutes left, and I know I'm gonna have Michael back on, but and I'm gonna have him on soon because he's my filler. Anytime and now I know I got Aaron in the bullpen, but Aaron, can you play us another quick song, and maybe we can capture Michael too?
Sure.
And before you start, Aaron, I just checked the server, and there's about 13,500 IP addresses right now.
Wow, man, that is all right. Hey, I'm really honored. I appreciate you guys having me on for your very first one. That means a lot to me. And I'm excited to come on and, share some news and what happens in the next few months that I can kind of recap. And I think, when I was talking about how relationships are so important, people want to feel like they're invested in people, right? And relationship wise. And so, if people know, kind of what's going on with me, my struggles or whatever, and they get it every couple months by watching your podcast or your videos, man, that's great, because then I'll get messages from people like, hey, I had the same thing about my drinking, or I had the same thing about writing songs about this or that. And, that's where you kind of engage, and, you have to be where you're approachable and likable, and people they feel like they can kind of reach out and talk to you. So this one's called It's On Me. It's from a bartender's point of view. He walked in, put a 20 on the bar, sat in the same stool he always did. Gave me a nod and said, hey, old friend. Same day every year, never asked for a beer. Only here 'cause he wanted him near the bend. still grab a bottle and a glass, just in case you can't handle the past. 'Cause I knew about the day they met and the day they got married, the love they had and the burdens they carried. He'd laugh about all the time she broke his heart. He tells some stories, tried to hide the tears. I know the reason why he's here, 'cause moving on alone is the hardest part. I tell him, why don't you take that 20 when you leave? 'Cause buddy, it's on me. Well, I never met her, boy, I wish I had. 'Cause I ain't seen a memory of that kind of hold on a man. Pulled out a worn out picture every time he starts to miss her, and I see his whole mood change. I'd love to see those pretty blue eyes, but all he's got left is a black and white. I knew the day they met and the day they got married, the love they had, burdens they carried. He'd laugh about all the time she broke his heart. He tells some stories, tried to hide the tears. I know the reason why he's here, 'cause moving on alone is the hardest part. I tell him, why don't you take that 20 when you leave? Hey buddy, it's on me. Five years in a row, we visit her headstone. He always tried to give me gas money, but I always told him no. Now he's laying by her side, and I go see them both. I bring a beer for me and him and lay her down a rose. 'Cause I knew about the day they met and the day they got married, the love they had and the burdens they carried. He'd laugh about all the time she broke his heart. He tells some stories, tried to hide the tears. I know the reason why he was there, 'cause moving on alone is the hardest part. Put that picture back in my billfold before I leave, 'cause buddy, it's on me. Buddy, it's on me.
You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 FM. Join us next Thursday. Seriously, we're going to have a great show for you next Thursday. I've got two very special guests. If you're listening right now on the radio, please switch over to gosh, I wanted to talk about my other show. We're Songwriters Soles on Facebook. You can join us there. Michael, I'm going to have you continue on. And
okay.
Pick another song, and then we'll end the show and end the podcast. But I hope that, seriously, I hope you both have enjoyed this as much as I have. RJ, I really appreciate you being on. Aaron, real quick.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you having me on. Like I said, I'm honored anytime I can get an opportunity to meet new people and just kind of share what it is I do with people. Man, I would have just come in and listened to what was going on here today, but I appreciate you letting me be a part of it for sure.
Michael, take it away, Michael. Let's hear another great song.
All right, this one's called I went through a time where I was kind of thinking about like who I was as a person. It's usually what I end my set with when I go out and play. It's called Who the Hell Is Me? And it's just about this stoic thought of trying to be a better person and trying to figure out who you are. Ah. Well, I don't know what I want from life. Half of the time. Indecision is a cross I bear, at least in my mind. Where I don't know what I want to do, I don't know who I want to be, I don't know where I want to see. Who the hell is me? Sometimes I find myself dreaming of a different life, where nothing else is better or worse. It's just a different moment in time. Where I don't know what I want to do, I don't know who I want to be, I don't know where I want to see. Who the hell is me? Sometimes I look into the sky, all I see are a million stars. When I think, who am I? I shed a tear from my heart, 'cause I don't know what I want to do, I don't know who I want to be, I don't know where I want to see. Who the hell is me?
Yeah, buddy.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very cool. So we know that both of you have been through trials and tribulations in your life. And you know, music has a way of uplifting souls. And you know, Songwriters Souls uh, came to be because of Adam Searin. I originally was going to call this show Songwriter Shoes, but Adam Searin suggested Songwriters Souls. And because souls can be on the bottom of your shoes, and my tagline, it's a real journey, fit both scenarios. I'm glad I made the choice to go with souls, because everything that you guys were discussing was about your soul. Everything that you guys are talking about in life-changing events is about your soul. And the truth of the matter is, that is the journey that you're on. And I can't wait to talk to more people and meet more fascinating people and see what their journeys are in comparison to the standard you both have set today. So I want to thank you guys for being part of the show. Michael, I don't have to tell you, you're my son, but I love you. Aaron, you already know I love you and have had a great time.
I'm your new adopted son. It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I'm going to have an extended family out there anyway. But RJ, I love you too, because
Can I be the grandfather?
you can be the grandfather.
You're grandfathered in, RJ.
All right,
Yeah.
got it.
The funny thing is I couldn't do any of this. I started on the radio about 4 years ago and didn't picture myself doing what he thought I could do back then, and have enjoyed every step of my journey along the way. And truthfully, being able to do this was the vision that I saw, because of meeting people like you, Aaron and Michael, and seeing the energy and the commitment you guys put into what you're doing to really change people's lives with the messages you're bringing through music. And that's a huge ordeal. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys, and I look forward to building a bigger and better show each week, and having you guys on whenever I call, because obviously everybody here got that call and everybody got on the air. So I appreciate you guys deeply. Real quick, I'll go to RJ. Anything you want to add in?
No, I'm excited that you're doing it, and I've watched your development, like you say, over 4 years. I'm amazed what you're able to do, and I'm looking forward to this really taking off.
And Michael.
I had a great time. I think this is going to be great for Northport, being a music magnet school, as well as the songwriters that come to Florida and are able to book shows all around. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that just makes Northport a staple for music on the circuit.
Aaron.
I think it's always valuable to have a platform, especially like this, because there are so many different people with so many different stories, so many artists that probably don't otherwise have a platform to reach. Like you said, 13,000 unique IPs. Man, if even 20 people are listening, that's 20 more people than you're going to be able to reach by just playing at a local bar. I mean, you might find somebody within 100 feet of me that has a great story that you would never otherwise hear, but maybe they'll get a chance to hop on here because of a platform like this. And that's what people like Rose, she gives us a platform in Nashville to play. RJ, you give us a platform to be able to share what it is we do. Even if you come from different backgrounds, whether it's rap or country or folk or R&B, whatever it is, everybody's got a story or a reason that they're doing what they're doing. And, this is great. Even last minute, I'm a great last minute hop on guy, because I can always hop on and just have a conversation about life with people.
Absolutely.
And that's what this is. And during that part of conversation about life, it just happens to be that I'm somebody that writes songs for a living.
So one of the key components within your contract that you guys both signed with me, just so you know, the requirement is that you have to put this on your Facebook, and each of you have to get 5 likes on my page so that we can grow this, so that the next time you guys come on the show, I want to be at 500 likes and follows by August. That's our goal. So I need each guest to get me 5 or more. So I'm going to put that out there each and every time that we do this podcast. And I hope that you guys will join me, and you'll go get 5, and you'll just make sure we get 5 each.
I think we can get you 5.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Well,
thank you guys.
We'll work on trying to get you a lot more. Even people like Rose is such a great resource. And
Sure.
She won't tell you a whole bunch of stuff. You already know her, but she's the person behind a lot of people's success in Nashville, that if you knew half of the stories, you'd freak out and say, can you call that person right now?
Yep.
Yeah, she probably could.
Well, I will tell you real quick that when I text Rose, I hadn't talked or texted Rose since last year. And when I text her, Carrie said to me, will she even remember? And I hope she's doing well. And I text Rose and I just said, hey, Rose, how are you doing? I just wanted to check in. And she responded back a real simple thing that I promised about 4 years ago to her. And the response back was, I'm great. When are you coming to Nashville? So she has never forgotten. I promised her I would come to Nashville. Rose, I'm coming to Nashville. I promise. And now that I've got this, there's a reason to visit the back of Nashville, because I got to get my schedule filled up. Because the one thing I love to do is fill that schedule out for a whole year in advance. So the good news is I almost have June already full, and I only put the word out today to about 15 people.
I could probably send a bunch of artists and writers your way also.
Well, you have permission to give my email address and my phone number out to any of those artists, and we'll get them on the schedule.
They're going to be knocking on your front door. You don't worry. Let's have them lined up.
Love it. Love it.
They're coming from
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for extended time on my podcast. I really appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Have a good night. And you listeners out there, please join us next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. for Songwriters Soles, 97.5 FM, real community radio, hard at work for you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.
See you guys.
Bye.